Welcome to another episode of the Maximum Extreme Podcast, the ultimate movie and lifestyle podcast. My name is Bobby Stryker.
And I'm Yao.
And today we are going to be talking about Prometheus. You are listening to the Maximum Extreme Podcast. So, we're back doing this again.
Yeah, I know we've had to be aware you had like a family tragedy, you know.
Yeah, that's
someone you love.
Not too good, but I'm glad we're back, and today we're talking about Prometheus. Which
Did you actually watch Prometheus, Bobby?
Yeah, I saw it last night.
Oh, I was worried you weren't going to watch it. Good, I'm glad you watched it yesterday because I watched it with my fiance and I always thought that she would not pick up on things as much as I do, but she had to explain a few things to me. So I guess we'll get into that and we'll talk about what we thought. Do you want to start with what your feelings were about the film?
Well, let's go for a brief synopsis then. So I think a lot of people already know what it is. Prometheus is a prequel preceding the original Alien film directed by the same director, Ridley Scott.
And Alien came out in 1979. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct, 79.
And that was the first film which was iconic, excellent effects for its time, and I'd argue actually really good effects to this day. Apart from the Android stuff, I guess.
Exactly. The first film holds up today better than more recent movies. So it's a
better than Alien 4, I'll tell you that now.
But so it's an interesting story. I didn't know much about it going in. To be honest, I thought the whole kind of franchise had been diluted with numerous AVP movies, Alien vs Predator movies. But so the synopsis of this was that some scientists discover cave paintings, or predating any scientific, any modern age, where they somehow all have cave paintings of the same star constellation, which is too far away to be visible by the human eye. So they're all baffled, and it's a really far distant constellation. So they decide to take a trip out there. And they, for some reason, think that the people out there, or whoever they meet, if they meet anyone, could be the founders of the human race. And
not just human race, of life in general.
Yeah, life on Earth. But of course, specifically, they think they are their creators. So they travel out, they go there, stuff happens, things are interesting, and people want to see aliens. So that's the basic premise of it. So what do you lead? What did you think of it?
Okay, spoilers from the get-go. Right. I didn't understand what the opening scene was. I was baffled. In the opening scene, you see an alien drink some funny black goo, his body dissolves, and it goes into the water, and you see loads of DNA structures and stuff. And I was thinking, that's weird. And there's this beautiful vista, this beautiful waterfall and greenery and rock. And it's my girlfriend explained to me that actually for these creatures to create life, they have to just make it for themselves. They have to give self-sacrifice to make new life. So one of them has to take their special concoction and then dissolve, and they become the building blocks of life itself, whichever planet it's on. And Ridley Scott was talking about this in particular, and he said the opening scene is not necessarily Earth. It can be any planet in the cosmos that these beings have visited. And I thought that was interesting.
It's funny that your fiance, picked that up and you didn't. But that's.
I didn't, because I was a bit baffled because I came in wanting to watch an alien movie, and I was like, the whole way through, I'm thinking, how are the aliens made? Where did they come from? And if you watch it from that point of view, I think the film can be slightly disappointing because it teases you in places that just go crazy. Okay, the premise of these guys wanting to meet their makers, I didn't like so much. The first half of the film I thought was a bit annoying. Like, they did some really stupid things. They're scientists visiting a new planet, and they take off their helmets in a new environment that's not properly tested. And I'm sorry, if I'm a scientist, I'd want a bit more evidence that it's going to be safe for me. But also, they've just seen holographic evidence that the people that were there before them were running away from something really scary that killed them all. And they're like, no, let's take our helmets off, it'll be fine. Did you not think that was just a bit weird?
I mean, there was lots of things in it which don't really add up, and I think we will probably break them down. But
okay, my overall impressions were I really loved the film. I loved the visual style of the film was excellent. The script I felt was annoying in places, and if you watch it as a sci-fi movie, it's actually probably one of the best this year, if not the best I've seen this year, and if not for a long while. I loved the action, I loved the imagery, I loved what undertone messages he wanted to send, I think. But
Yeah.
if you watch it as an Alien prequel, it leaves you a bit like, huh?
Okay, well, I really liked it. I was really surprised, and like I said, I wasn't really expecting much, but I loved it quite a lot. Actually, I thought it was a really good film. That beginning sequence that you mentioned, yeah, apparently there is an extended. The sequence was extended originally. Apparently, it was like some kind of rite of passage sequence where this black liquid was passed from father to son. Then the son made this kind of sacrifice, and it's as you said, they drink this substance, and yes, they sacrifice themselves in order to create life on whichever planet they go to, and that's this kind of ritual, and that in turn supposedly possibly led to all life on Earth. The whole sequence. So yeah, they end up on this planet and seeing pretty scary stuff. I really liked it. Even some of the characters are specifically quite irritating from the get-go, but I love that. I loved how they were a bit quirky, and that in my mind played a little bit with memories of Aliens, where there's this team.
Game over, man. Game over.
But you love it, even though some of them are annoying. You do start to feel for these characters, and I love that about this film because it's actually quite a cerebral film, and I'm still thinking about it now.
What do you think about her partner? I thought he was very weak, and for me, he was a weak link in the movie because he was not convincing as a scientist or somebody who really cared about what he was doing.
Fair enough. I didn't like. I think maybe it was written to be that way because the thing with here is that Shaw's character is so amazingly strong. It's an amazing lead.
Ripley 2.0 or Ripley 0.5 beta.
Exactly. This is like a precursor to.
Ripley.
She's so hard. She doesn't start that way.
But we see her become harder, and that was amazing.
She's forced into becoming this. To survive, to do crazy things.
To give him birth is what makes her stronger.
So doing her own cesarean section. That's crazy stuff. But I think maybe Ridley's just really good at it. He's just writing strong female leads and stuff. It's pretty cool. I don't know. I thought she was amazing. Yeah. Do you recognize the lead actress?
Rumi Rapace. You mean from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo?
Have you seen that? Yeah.
I've read the books. Are amazing. The films are. If you read the books, the Swedish films are a bit disappointing, I think, because the books are absolutely amazing, and I recommend the books either in paperback form or an audio version. The books are absolutely amazing. That series, the Millennium series, is worth a read to anybody who loves reading, who loves a good story. They're absolutely amazing, and their Swedish movies are actually good, but they don't live up to the amazing books, unfortunately.
I've only seen the movies, and I thought she was amazing in them, to the point where I didn't actually recognize her in this.
Yeah.
And she was in Sherlock, the second Sherlock Holmes, Game of Shadows.
But she was a bit lackluster in that, I felt.
Well, she had a small role, I guess. She had a
very small role in that. And I think the problem is, because I recognized her from Girl with Dragon Tattoo, I keep on thinking she'd have a bigger role. And her role in Prometheus was pivotal. I think she held up her part.
I think... I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head of other actresses I would be able to just envisage playing this role. She was just so powerful as a lead.
She made her own, and I believed in the character. I didn't believe in Rumi Rapace. I believed in her character, sure. And I can't wait for the sequel for Prometheus, which will be in about 3 years' time, I hear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. They're talking about sequels.
What, with Ridley back at the helm?
No. Well, fine. Let's talk about the story a bit more, because I think we've just been lost in the complexity of the story, and we're not. Anyone listening to this will go, okay, what's the film about? Even if they've watched it, I think they want us to comment a bit more about what happened. So you continue. So they come to this planet.
So they come to this planet. Yeah. They get a brief summary from their so-called employer, a very old-looking Wayland, who is a good old Neighbours Guy Pearce in an almost
Mike from Neighbours, in
an almost unrecognizable kind of state. And then
did you see him in the fake TED Talk?
No, I've heard about it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so TED Talks are these inspirational talks by people about topics, and it's all about the furtherment of human knowledge and life, and it's about improving yourself. They're really good talks by people who are experts in the field. So on the TED website for a while, there was this fake TED Talk, which actually was a young Guy Pearce, or Guy Pearce as he is now, as Wayland in character, talking about his plans for the future, talking about Prometheus, the Titan, who gave us fire. you know. And it's a really interesting speech. It's got nothing to do with the film, kind of, really, but it sets the character for how maniacal this man is and his goals, you know. And I think that's an interesting adage to watch. There's a few of these like teaser videos which are like just some of the viral marketing for Prometheus, which are actually add to the experience of the movie, I think. Apparently, there's a sequence with Guy Pearce as a young man in the movie that's been taken out, which is a dream sequence between him and the robot David. But I think the truth about Prometheus is this is going to come out on Blu-ray in a director's cut version, and I think director's cut is going to be absolutely amazing.
I think this film is gonna surprise people, and is gonna do very well, and I think it's a worthy addition to the whole Alien saga.
I think it's too good for that. I think it's a good film itself. I think you can get this and you can get Alien. Did you know that this planet is not the same planet in Alien?
Yeah, so this was LV-223. Alien was good old LV-426.
Yeah, I knew you'd know this. I didn't know this. I thought it was exactly the same planet, so I was really confused at the ending. But I only found out later, after reading the geeks online, I guess people like you, who noticed that it was a different planet number than in Alien. So this is not exactly the same planet as Alien.
Yeah, right.
So you want to continue with the story, briefly?
Yeah, so yeah, they get this briefing. They come out and arriving on the planet, they see this clearly unnatural structure. And Holloway Shaw's, I think is it husband or fiance, whatever. The two, yeah, the marriage. So Holloway, the other lead scientist, is they put the ship down there, and it's getting late, but they're so excited about it, they have to take the buggies out and go in and start exploring. We get to feel for a few of the other characters, like the crazy redhead Fifield and some of these other guys, and they immediately start discovering stuff. But you can feel there's this hidden agenda, as always in these kinds of films when corporations are involved. You've got David, this which is what's his name, Fassbender, the David amazing Fassbender, in the role.
Excellent.
Yeah, brilliant actor, brilliant, and he's there in the role of this android.
He steals the show. He really steals the show. And I think him and Rumi Rapace in the sequel.
Only second to Rapace.
Those two
second
together.
To Rapace.
That's why I'm excited about the sequel. The sequel's going to be mainly those two, I think, if it's made.
I don't know if I'd be keen on a sequel. This is such a good film. I mean, where do they want to go with it? So anyway, so they start exploring. They find this chamber with these kind of canisters
of goo. But on the wall of this chamber are some carvings. And it's set up like an altar, okay? And you can see on the walls, you can see one of these giants. We call them giants, shall we? Oh, engineers.
Well, engineers, or I think Ridley referred to them as space jockeys.
Yeah, well, he's space jockeys from the Alien movie, because the way he was sitting inside, the way that guy was sitting inside the machine, they called him the space jockey from his position in the first Alien. But yeah, okay, the space jockeys or the engineers. There's one of them with something kind of his stomach, like giving life out of his stomach, whatever. But there's special small carvings, you see a glimpse of it, which is carvings of the xenomorphs. You saw that?
Yeah, so there's a mural on the roof. Yeah, there's a mural on the roof in the image of a xenomorph.
And it's set up as if they're worshipping the xenomorph, or they hold them in high regard. And these specific types of black goo are in that room, as if they're designated as xenomorph generators. And that's the way I took it. I don't know if that's wrong.
Yeah. I think the first encounter with it, you're not 100% sure. When they walked into the room and you see these things on the floor, I wondered whether they may be those pods that release the facehuggers, but that's not the case at all. Yeah, they're actually metal kind of canisters, oozing material. And as soon as they enter this room, the climate changes. And that's when the whole atmosphere, everything, changes. It's like they activate some kind of terraforming circuitry. Atmosphere becomes breathable. And you actually see stuff oozing and little worms and things like...
The worms that are already in the ground are infected or contaminated by the black goo, yes.
Subsequently, that's definitely what happens. So the entranceway of this chamber was one of these big engineers, aliens. They're called engineers because these scientists feel they were the ones who engineered the human race and life on Earth. So that's where this term comes from. And they start picking up, looking at samples. And I can't remember why, they get a bit freaked, don't they? And they say, okay, we've got to get out of here. And that's when they decide, okay, we'll bag this alien head of this engineer, and unbeknownst to the others, I don't think they see him, but Dave the android, who's under some kind of secret commands, which we later find is from Wayland, he picks up one of these canisters, takes it back to the ship. And they end up back on the ship. They start experimenting a little bit. And there's this kind of uncomfortable banter, isn't there, between David and Holloway. I didn't like that from the get-go, how Holloway was always picking on David for not being human. Like, oh, you can't really feel what we feel. You can't feel guilt or distress.
One of the reasons why I didn't like him, because he wasn't empathetic or sympathetic. He was looked down David. You can see how David had his own self-righteousness. Was like, imagine how disappointed you'd feel, if you met your god and he was like nothing more than you expected. How do you reckon I feel, the way I look at you, kind of thing? Yeah, I think that was a really good line, wasn't it? The line, I think, was, oh, why did they make him? And he says, it was because we could. And he goes, imagine how disappointed you would be if you met your maker. And he said the same. I felt that David, the android, had more character and empathy than Holloway. And that's one reason why Holloway just didn't work for me. He wasn't really a 2D. And he says the stupidest things, Your wife, can't have kids, So then you say something to make her feel crappy about it by accident. And if you're a guy, you and me have women in our lives, you know what it's like, You're always on guard. You don't say stupid crap like that gets you in trouble, that makes her upset and makes her want to cry. Idiot.
Exactly. So there's lots of then the crazy stuff starts happening now. 2 of the crew goes missing because they got freaked and they left the main team, and then they end up staying there overnight. Suffice to say, they do not survive.
Well, one of them kind of survives as a zombie.
Okay, let's talk about this. So, these 2 scientists who were a bit freaked earlier when they find all these samples and these carvings and murals on the walls, and they tried to leave early. So we expected them to be back in the safety of the ship, but in fact they never make it back, and they end up back in the chamber. They get communications from the ship saying, "Oh, there seems to be movement in the tunnels down there with you."
And we never find out what that movement is, do we?
I imagine it was in that spaceship, wasn't it, that David finds later. Maybe it was simple. It was life. It wasn't movement, wasn't it? Life.
I guess,
So maybe it was the life signal of the sleeping engineer. Anyhow, so they then they're back in this chamber with these vials, and my impression was that with the power of this black goo, these worms that we had seen there innocently had mutated and become these almost snake-like creatures.
Like a semi-fake facehugger snakes,
It was like a fake, it wasn't quite a facehugger. It behaved like a cobra, but a really powerful cobra. And then, it attacks one of the guys and does the usual routine of trying to impregnate, and basically they both die, and they don't die well. And, like you said, Fifield, he doesn't quite die, but he kind of comes back later. Where are we going from here? So, from here, we ended up back on the ship, where we meet my quite a favourite actor of mine,
Idris Elba. I mean, have you ever watched Luther, the TV series called Luther? I recommend. He's excellent movies, but he's got this TV series called Luther where he's a cop in the UK.
That was showing just before I moved out to Singapore, I think.
Hey, what's your problem? You got to watch it. It's on iTunes. You get it off iTunes. Yeah.
Wasn't he like a hard cop?
He's hardcore. Watch season 1 is amazing, and season 2 is really good. I don't know if season 2 was only good in the last episode, which I thought was better than any episode in season 1. But Luther is a show to watch. It's only ever 6 episodes. The UK knows how to make good quality TV shows that don't need to be 22 episodes long. 6 episodes, and you're left wanting more, like Jekyll as well.
Yeah, have you seen Sherlock?
Yeah, Sherlock's only ever 3 episodes, but three movie-length episodes,
They're amazing, but they always do that in the UK. Like, I remember Red Dwarf was only ever 6 episodes as well.
But they were quality, mate.
They were, indeed. They were. But Idris, have you seen what he's doing now? Pacific Rim?
What the hell's that? Sounds like a dodgy movie.
It may very well be. It's
God.
you know who Guillermo del Toro is?
Yeah. The Pan's Labyrinth guy.
Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy, all of that stuff.
He's an excellent director. He was supposed to do The Hobbit, then he gave up on it.
Yeah. There must have been a reason for that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so Pacific Rim is some crazy film where aliens attack, and then to save and protect mankind, humans dress up in these giant robot suits and fight the aliens. And
sounds like Robotech.
It sounds like Robotech, and there was a few films in the 80s like this, but it's like that, but it's going to be pretty crazy because I think Guillermo's had like a whole city made to be destroyed.
Whoa.
for the purpose of the film. And there's recently some screenshots came out of Idris like in his tight spandex type spacesuit, but people are looking forward to it. But he was the captain of the ship piloting, and a nice character. He was a good character. He didn't have the biggest part, but he had a good role, and he did what a captain should.
He displayed self-sacrifice for the whole human race, so him and his two shipmates, who we never got to know. But they were good guys, good guys.
So what else happened? So eventually we find out that this old Wayland, who has appeared in holographic form, and we all presumed was dead, was in fact not dead, but alive on the ship with the aid of whoever people. And he was here out on some crazy crusade because he thought possibly he could meet the people who made the human race in order to live longer. And then there was some discomfort, tension between him and this woman Vickers, supposedly his daughter, because she wants to take over the empire, and he's not willing to die.
And she says some amazing lines, which are, to take one step back, the trailer for Prometheus is absolutely amazing. The trailer for Prometheus is a top grade trailer. I recommend anybody watches it after they've seen the film, not before. But the lines in the movie, which I think are one of the best lines in the movie, but not executed well within the movie, is what's her phrase about the king?
I can't remember the exact line, but the phrase was something like every king,
a king has his reigns, then dies.
Yeah, and then someone has to succeed him.
Yeah.
And then he kind of closes his hands and he silently gives this look like my time is not yet. Not if I can help.
Do you ever get the feeling that he treats David like his son? Like, he always says David's like a son to me, and it just gives the impression that he's at this point that he has a daughter.
He said that in the film, didn't he?
Yeah.
David was the son I always wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
But then we don't know if Vickers is human or android.
She's human. She squashes like a human anyway.
She squashes like a human, but there are things, I think it was apparently left up to the imagination, because there are certain things there, like the way she flings David around with ease.
Yeah, but then she has her way with Idris Elba to prove that she's human, doesn't she?
But we never see that. We don't see it,
but it happened. Come on. Idris Elba got that. He's so cool. Come on.
And so David is on this hidden agenda from Wayland.
Which doesn't make sense.
What he does, he gives some of this DNA sample to Holloway. Holloway then has sex with his wife,
Elizabeth Shaw, the main protagonist.
Yep, the main lead, Noomi Rapace, and then she becomes pregnant with this alien, and she's supposedly barren, so she's quite shocked. And David's quite sinister at this point. He actually sedates her because she wants to have this creature removed from her body. When she finally comes to her senses, she manages to somehow find the strength to go and do some crazy procedure operation on herself to remove this thing.
And to be honest, I've seen operations in real life, and in my life, I've never seen anything so accurate. The way this machine cuts her open and removes this thing, and even closes a wound at the end, that is very realistic. That's extremely. I watched that thinking, oh my god, this looks so real. And to me, that was one of the best moments I've ever seen in cinema. One of the most shocking moments I've ever seen. And I believed every second of it. Every second of it. And then when she got out of the machine and was clambering away, that's when I invoked Ripley. I was like, wow, she's just been reborn. She just gave birth, but she's just been reborn as a super, female lead.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, the character, Rapace's character, sure, with scenes like that, became a much more powerful character than I ever remember Ripley being, actually. I don't know if that's true or not. To be honest, I haven't seen the original Alien film in some time. Aliens, I've seen many times. And but she had the support of a team and some pretty trustworthy, strong characters in Aliens as well. But yeah, I don't remember her ever being like this. She, of course, had the mental strength, but in this, Numi had the mental strength and the physical endurance, and she goes through hell. And after
literally through real hell.
And then she somehow ends up stumbling on this old Wayland character, and they end up going out to meet this one last engineer who is in stasis that David discovers unbeknownst to the rest of the team. And at this point, it's a bit strange. I'm not sure if everyone else on the ship saw Wayland or not, because no one seems shocked to have seen.
No one else knows he's there, because Vickers knew he was there from the start. But when they leave, nobody else really knows what's going on. The captain and his men don't know Wayland has gone out, don't know anything about Wayland at all.
So they end up out in this chamber, another place where David has found this spaceship and a engineer in stasis sleeping, and he somehow activated another one of these holographic projections. So he's actually managed to figure out from viewing this how to activate and use a lot of the ship's technology. In addition to this, through analysis and studies of things prior to the trip, he can read and speak, or supposedly, or try to speak, the language of the engineers. So they make the attempt to wake this engineer, and Wayland is there. He wants to know, what's happened? Can you save me? Whereas Rapace wants to know more of deep questions like, why did you make us? And at this point,
and why did you try and kill us? Because
this is what they think at this stage. They think that these aliens were in fact wanting to kill the human race, and that's what this chamber full of these vials were. They were going to send it down to Earth to kill everyone, and she was angry. And
with xenomorphs.
Yeah, with xenomorphs. So things don't go to plan. The alien wakes up. There seems to be a moment of optimism when David is speaking in the supposed alien tongue, and then he has his head ripped off, and everyone else gets killed, and Shaw somehow manages to, just by the skin of her teeth, get out of there as this alien is starting to take over his ship, and
it looks like he's heading for Earth to finish what they were supposed to start. And the thing is, though, that what made me sad about this film is that they built these guys up as these benevolent proto-gods, these benevolent engineers, creators, we could, and you see Romy Rapace, she has this faith in them, like a real religious faith, spiritual belief in these guys that they're out there, they made us, and we can learn so much from them. And he so disappoints. We go there, we see that they're nothing more than creatures like us who've played with fire, who thought they could do something, and that something goes wrong up there. And it's just like us with the Fukushima nuclear plant, where we think we can control technology, and then it goes against us. And just like us, they succumb to their own folly. And instead of being a benevolent creature, he's just this angry. He's just so angry. He kills Wayland, he rips off David's head, and then when his ship crashes, he goes out to seek Rumi Rapace, who would probably die if she just left her alone anyway. He goes to seek her out so he can just kill her with his own bare hands. So what on earth was this guy on?
But beyond her faith and belief in these engineers, she has faith in Christ and in religion. So let's talk about this. So why did they want to kill humans? Have you Googled this? Have you read about?
Oh God, please don't talk to me about the space Jesus theory, please.
Well, that's the thing. It's interesting.
Please, come on. We don't need this stuff in our podcast, Bobby.
Well, the dates, they should be mentioned, as people might. It's an interesting fact, because it was Scott who mentioned it. It was Ridley who said it in a recent interview, right? Yeah. So the theory is, if you look at the dates. So they find this alien, the first alien engineer body that they find, and they do this thing, and they say, approximate death was about 2,000 years ago. The story takes place in 2093. So what happened this is an approximate. Something happened. They created life on Earth. Something happened on Earth. They all got pissed off. And Ridley was saying is something like, things are going a bit out of hand down there. Why don't we send one of our guys down there to try and talk to them and try and get them all back on track like a missionary? And instead, they crucified him. And so they got pissed off and said, we're going to kill you all now. But before they could do that, outbreak and aliens, and they all ended up kind of mostly being killed. And so it's an interesting, it was Ridley who said that. It's an interesting
take. I wonder
take.
why that didn't go. I think that would have been a big mistake, because something about this film is so special and amazing. And I think a story like that, really on the nose, saying, oh no, these guys are responsible for Jesus Christ, and us killing Jesus Christ meant they're going to eradicate us, but then something went wrong, so they couldn't eradicate us. That's just a bit too heavy. And in this world, we're just not ready for that, man.
I don't know. For me, that added an extra layer to the whole, the story and everything. I quite like that. It made it interesting.
I think, to me, that would have just been silly. Because then, because you're stretching your belief so much in watching these things. And when you tie into something, have you ever watched The Da Vinci Code?
Yeah.
Have you watched it in cinema? I watched it in cinema. And when you see the, spoilers for Da Vinci Code, by the way, when you see the big reveal that this woman is a relative of Jesus Christ, and she's like his last descendant on earth, everybody in the theatre just laughed. They're like, he's like, oh my God, you're the great granddaughter of Jesus, and everyone in cinema just laughed.
I don't know, but that's the story, though. That's the story. It's the same in the book.
It's only in the book. Like, it's supposed to be this really deep, impactful moment, but it just didn't work. And I just think that would have been a laughable moment in the movie. Personally, for me, I don't know.
I quite liked it.
Yeah, I think it's better as a theory than a reality.
But yeah, so that's pretty much Prometheus. And then in the end, crap happens, people fight. They manage to, thanks to Idris's sacrifice, they managed to take down the alien ship before it can go and finish its job on planet Earth. But she's the sole survivor.
Well, her and Vickers are surviving at that time, but Vickers gets crushed by the ship when it lands, when the alien ship crashes, and she makes a lovely squelch.
Yeah, so that was nice. So then it leaves Shaw with our friend David, who's now just a head, who I imagine Shaw is able to fix. And you see them taking off in a ship.
But before that happens, the jockey comes out to try and kill Shaw. She goes back to the module where she had the cesarean. The creature they took from her is still there. It's like a proto space facehugger. So it's like an octopus kind of thing. It's absolutely massive now. And she closes the door, doesn't get hit by it. But when the giant comes, when the engineer comes, she opens the door and he gets sucked in by that creature. And then it implants its thing inside the belly of the giant, and she runs away, gets David and flies away. But later on, we come back and we see the giant squirming on the floor, and then a creature bursts out of him. And it's not a worm, and it's not like what the aliens are like in the movies when they come out. This is a fully formed sized xenomorph that's burst out of the belly of the giant. It looks slightly different to the other xenomorphs, and then morphs into what we expect it to look like at the end. And that shows the genesis of what we believed, that shows a xenomorph being created. And for anybody who's been watching the whole film as an alien precursor, that was not a payoff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. That's why a lot of people were disappointed. But I don't know. I thought that was a good enough prequel for me. That it answered a lot of what I was hoping to see. And I thought it's one of those things where it's better to leave certain things untold. It's like, you don't really want to see where Darth Vader came from, and when you do see it, it kind of disappoints.
Okay, fine. No, it's all about how you do it, because I personally think that he has ideas to make more films, and I think it would be nice to see a kind of like, how Star Trek, the new Star Trek movies, a reboot of the old Star Trek movies. It would be nice to see a continuation of Prometheus that is not necessarily 100% about the Alien movies, but a reboot within the universe of the Alien movies. And that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting, as I think these engineers are aware of what happens when they are impregnated, and hence the Muriel.
Yeah.
Hence the Muriel showing the xenomorph. So it's not something they want, but something possibly that they fear and they're aware of. And yeah, so that's pretty much where we are with Prometheus. I enjoyed it a lot. I would highly recommend it. Do you remember back in uni? I don't know if you remember this. For me at least, I would often ask people what their favorite alien movie was. I thought what they would answer could often give you an idea whether they are a decent person or what kind of person they are.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So if someone said Alien was their favorite of the Alien movies, then I'd be like, okay, that's a very respectable choice. Aliens. It's a great film. It shows that maybe you prefer, more of an action, maybe, that type of person. You like your action more to your cerebral thinking movies. Alien 3, okay, still a certain level of respect there. I didn't enjoy it.
A bit cerebral, but not your cup of tea, but maybe a bit cerebral.
Yeah, maybe too cerebral for me. And then anyone who says alien resurrection, you know there's serious psychological issues there. Those people are in need of psychiatric help immediately. and then you came along with Alien vs Predator. The first one I enjoyed quite a lot.
I mean, I loved the first one. I think the first was enjoyable. The second one was ridiculous.
Yeah, but you're right. They I just don't even consider them part of the whole the whole history.
They're part of the Predator canon for me, not part of the Alien canon, but part of the Predator canon.
But even that's not good. I mean, even the new Predators movie was pretty pants.
It was okay. It wasn't that good.
Yeah, it wasn't good either. No. But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it.
I think it's an excellent film. I recommend it. I don't think you should watch it as an Alien prequel. I think you should watch it as a sci-fi movie made by Ridley Scott, which, I'm sorry, the ones made by him before are all of good caliber. You've got, what have you got? You got Blade Runner, you got Alien, and has he made any other sci-fi movies as far as you know? But those two alone are two of the best sci-fi movies ever made. I think Prometheus is well up there. I don't think it's better than Blade Runner necessarily, but I think it could be. But Blade Runner has more of a heritage. Blade Runner has more of a cachet. But this I think this in 20 years' time is going to be seen as a big film. And just like Blade Runner, at the time when Blade Runner came out, people were like, what the hell is this movie? This is ridiculous. Only later on was Blade Runner really appreciated.
Yeah, but not by me.
I really like Blade Runner. I think Blade Runner is the director's cut of Blade Runner because it does a lot to leave your imagination. If you watch it by yourself in the silence, you can feel a lot of what's going on there by just watching and going, what's going on now? What's he thinking? What's going on? And Rutger Hauer and that crazy android woman in it are excellent characters. I think you should watch Blade Runner again.
I have it on Blu-ray, but it's just not it's just
send it to me. I'll have it.
Yeah, okay.
I'll pay postage.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you better do. Anyhow, so that's the end of another episode of the Maximum Extreme podcast. If you've liked what you've heard, please like our Facebook page and subscribe to us. So until next time, take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.